Welcome to Subramani. Last week I had the fun or excitement of meeting a few young couples, actually four, belonging to same company or their spouses were in different companies. So all four are in their 40s. One of those girls is 39, not yet to touch 40. So she said, I'm the youngest in the group. So all of them have at least 10 crores. Okay, now all of them have access to some literature, so they all knew that they could withdraw 4% from their portfolio. So I said, I had to explain, saying there is one study in the US done in the 70s or maybe in the 80s, which took a lot of past data of US and said, if you have a portfolio which is put 50% in the S&P 500 and 50% in US bonds, this combination will do very well, and you will be able to withdraw 4% for the rest of your life for people retiring at the age of 65. So get all this clear. US markets during a time when US dominated the world really. I mean, US could sell its cement in India. If you know the facts, I think it was Hirakud Dam or something which was supported by World Bank, and World Bank said you have to buy cement from US, right? That is how they dominated. Today they dominate, but not to that extent. They can't sell cement to you. They can still sell their McDonald's burgers to you, but they can't sell cement to you. So today, in today's world, what kind of a portfolio should you create which will allow you a 4% withdrawal for the next 60 years? I don't have an answer, and I'm sure none of us have an answer. So let us do some experiments. So 40 to 100 is 60 years of retired life. 65 to 100 would have been, say, 30 years of retired life, more or less. So this is doubling. There is some study in the US which says for every 10 years you have to reduce 0.5% from the withdrawal rate. So 10, 10, 10, 30 years excess. So half, 1.5. So straight away 4 goes to 2.5%. So it's 2.5% which you can withdraw and not 4%, because predicting for such a long period of time. So if for a couple in the 40s, what happens if they have more kids? What happens if they adopt a kid? What happens if some kid gets into trouble with drug abuse or something like that, right? Gets kidnapped, they have to pay a ransom, any of those things. Nothing you can predict over a 60-year period. Yes, after a 65 to 100 also is difficult to predict, but this is tough. I recently lost somebody whom I knew well, who spent approximately, the family spent approximately 1 crore, 1.1 crore on looking after him for the last 4 years of his life, right? So this is again unexpected. But given 10 crores, these are not the only hassles. The hassles are what happens if you are hit by something like COVID and your income drops, right? Income from investment drops. Your investment performance, you're assuming that you will be able to withdraw 4-5%. The problem is also when you have such a huge corpus staring at you every day, that why wouldn't you go and buy a 50 lakh rupee car when you have 10 crores lying there, right? So you are likely to do that. What happens if you take more expensive vacations? Can you afford it? So what is a safe withdrawal rate for a young couple? I don't know, but 2.5% seems to be good. So ask yourself some of these questions. Will you ever want to go back to work and make things right? Will you be able to go back to work after 5-6 years of doing nothing, right? Will I be able to do a 9 to 5 job now for the next 5 years if I'm forced to do? Answer is maybe not. Maybe I wouldn't want the hassle of traveling. Maybe I don't want to have the hassle of meeting deadlines, etc. I'm happy doing my training. I'm happy doing some training sessions, making videos and things like that, but with a definite deadline saying I have to do. Look, I have been disciplined that I put 2 videos every day. That discipline is there, but the discipline of working with client deadlines, boss deadlines and things like that, it's not going to be very easy. So If you run out of your money for whatever reasons, you funded a brother's venture which failed, right? I've seen such people, and I don't see them regretting, but they're saying, oh, I put money in my brother's construction business, but he got cheated by some builder, etc., etc., or some guy where he bought the land, but the title was not good, so I funded my brother to the extent of 2-3 crores. 2-3 crores is 30% of your corpus, right? So when such things happen, when you're spending more on your child than you expected, or you're spending more on your nephew or niece more than you expected, some medical emergency in the family which they just turn to you, so some of those things can happen. You could get bored, you could fund some other's business and fail, that business could fail, you could do well, but giving 60-year predictions is wrong. You don't know how things will turn out. So I wouldn't know how to predict for a 40-year-old what all things to do. So the usual way is to say, okay, safely I can do 2.5%, anything more than that is a luxury. So what happens if the client who said he'll withdraw only 2.5% suddenly starts withdrawing 5-6%, saying, look, I don't think I'm going to live too long, so it's okay if I touch the corpus, my corpus at the age of 60 instead of 75 as you had suggested. So again, that's possible. Can you do it? Yeah, answer is yes, you can do it. You can live luxuriously. You have no children, so you have to finish all the money before you die. But what happens if you live till the age of 114 and the last 14 years you require a lot of outside help and that has to be paid for? If you don't have children, chances are you will end up in a senior citizen home. Very likely that all of us will end up in a senior citizen home, maybe at the age of 70, 72, 75, whatever, and in a geriatric care at the age of 85. What happens if you die at 62? That's fantastic. Nothing to be done. You have enough corpus when you die, and whatever, you made a will and that money goes to charity. That's fine. What happens if you live till 102? That is the question that none of us are able to answer. So when you are, you have to have a different kind of a framework. It is not that study hard, work well, retire and then live for the rest of your life. This is work, earn money, create a corpus, retire, take a break for 2 years, then go back to work, create a corpus for another 3-4 years, and then by the time you're 50, 55, you will say, okay, now I don't want to do some of these large commitments. Maybe I'll sit on boards, maybe I'll mentor people, maybe I'll charge a fee for it, but I'm not going to look at just not working from the age of 40, 45. So what if you want to if you're forced to go back to work? How long will you work there to come back to this lifestyle, or will that get more attractive and stay there? So can you describe how life will be if you are 55 and this money is spent? This is not an easy to answer question. Think about it. Is there any purpose to your life, or will you spend all this money on the purpose of your life? I know one person, hold your breath, who is likely to give something like 60-65 crores to a party, right? A political party, and he has no hopes of doing anything there. He's already served with them for a long time. My head is bursting to tell you the name, but I'm not going to tell you the name. It's a good organization that I've seen at close quarters. I've seen it working. So he's going to give them at least 60 crores, 65 crores if his portfolio does well. So that's the kind of money that he's going to give away to charity. He doesn't have children. Both husband and wife are still earning. They are in their late 60s, maybe mid to late 60s, but they have that kind of money. But so find what is your purpose of your life. So that is his purpose of his life. So the whole organization knows that this is the kind of money that he's going to give. Answer is it so? No. Only the owner or only the person who is managing the organization knows that this is there in his will. I know because he's mentioned it to me. But it is hard not to take a lot of money from your investment portfolio for your luxuries. Will you be able to hold yourself against that? It is also hard to take money out, finish your portfolio, go back to work and come back, right? So if you were to do that, how soon will you want to come back? What will you do? These are all questions which you have to answer, which I don't think any financial planner can answer. You have to sit, answer them yourself, ask yourself these questions. If anything, I can give you what questions to ask, but answers you have to find yourself. Thank you.